Andrew. How are you?
I'm very well, Nareen. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Happy to hear it.
I'm very glad that we're having our meeting today.
Me too.
Because I wanted to ask you about some breathing techniques that would help me with dealing with stress. So I wanted to ask you how we can use techniques that you are very knowledgeable in to share with us so we can feel better.
Yep, I'd be happy to. So, yes, it's a very, very relevant thing that you bring up about people sitting in front of the computer and also dealing with the stress and anxiety of this time, you know, being home a lot especially. That can create rigidity and tension in the body. In our prior call, we talked a bit about that and the importance of working on fluidity. So how to keep the body in motion and movement versus the stiffening that can occur, especially when sitting, you know, for prolonged periods of time. So I do have exercises that will help with this that do go, you know, they target the shoulder as well as the head and the wrists. And then there's also one exercise, the most basic, called the integration breath, that is going to be done at the beginning and the end of doing the exercises, as well as between each of the exercises that I'm going to cover today. So I'd be happy to do that. And probably the best way to do these is, you know, again, taking your time with them. For our viewers who are going to watch this video, you know, trying to go with what we're demonstrating. If you need to pause it, take a break, you know, that's fine. Pace yourself. If you have feelings that start to come up, if you're feeling, you know, anxiety or something starting to come up, calm yourself down. You know, again, go gradually with this. It's very important to do that so that you don't overwhelm yourself. And, you know, if you're experiencing pain, especially, stop the exercise. It is very crucial that if at any point you are starting to experience pain coming up, that you do not push into that. The key is really to reduce the stress and tension, not to generate more of it. So please go slowly with these and take your time. And again, if your body is starting to signal that there is pain, back off, take a break, have some water, lay down, go for a walk if you can, and, you know, and then return to them. Please don't try to push through it. That's very, very important.
Okay. All right.
So, are we ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
So I'm going to ask you to stand.
Okay.
Again, this is the way to do these exercises. You know, it is possible to do them sitting, but the range of motion is really restricted. So ideally, they'll be standing, and I'm going to go over with you step by step how to go through this so that, again, hopefully you can get the most out of them as we go. So, as far as the stance, if you look down at your feet, Nareen, I want you to notice whether or not your toes are facing straight out or if they're slightly out to the side. Can you tell me how your feet look?
They're straight out.
Okay. So what I'd like for you to do is to turn the feet slightly out. Okay? Now, this is important because what do you think about standing? If you're standing and you have your feet straight out, are you more in a state of balance or less in a state of balance than if your toes are slightly out?
Less.
And why is that?
I don't know why.
If you think of a dancer, right, or a ballerina, you know, that's an example of one. You want to have your toes slightly out. The purpose of this is you're going to have greater stability. You're not going to get, you know, thrown off one side to the other. Your toes can catch you better. Your feet are straight, much easier to fall over. So the basic stance for these exercises is to have your feet about 2 foot widths apart, your toes slightly out, and your knees slightly bent. Very important to not hyperextend and lock the legs back, but rather to keep them slightly bent, okay? Just like so.
Got it.
And their knees are slightly bent, so that's the correct posture to have for the legs. Moving right along. Good. So this first exercise is called the integration breath. And as I said, this is going to be done at the beginning of when you practice the exercises as well as at the end. And how it looks is the hands are gently held together. And I'll just demonstrate. What it's going to be is a strong inhale through the nose to bring the arms up, and then a strong exhale out the mouth for when the arms come down. So I'll just demonstrate for now. Okay? Now with all of these exercises, you always want to begin with the breath. before any movement. So regardless of which exercise we're doing today, the integration breath included, I want you to start the exercise with the breath. So let's try this together, okay? So hands gently together. Strong inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Good, try to keep the shoulders relaxed again. Exhale. We're going to do 4 more. Three more. Two more. And last one. Very good. How do you feel doing those, Nari?
I feel lighter.
Excellent. Very, very good. So again, with these exercises, it's very important that if you're feeling pain show up, to stop. Okay, it's counterproductive to go into the pain. That will just create more tension and rigidity with the muscles. So as you're doing these, again, strong breath is very important, especially the elongation of the exhale. The longer the exhale, the more oxygen will be absorbed into the blood, and that will help to relax the muscles. Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
I would like to ask you, as far as when we inhale, what is the proper way to breathe? I just want to have a better idea.
Great question. Thank you. So really what we want to do is expand the chest. Okay? So we're breathing into the chest. This is not to breathe into the stomach, which isn't to say you can't have some, breathing into the stomach, but really we want to concentrate on expansion of the thoracic cage, the rib cage. Okay? So that's a great question. Also, with all the exercises, we start with inhales through the nose and then exhale through the mouth.
Got it.
Okay, great. So with this exercise, it's going to look a bit like how a camel moves its head when it walks, and I'll just demonstrate. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing a strong inhale through the nose, reaching out with my chin, out and down, and then coming back. As I come back, I'm exhaling. It's almost like an ice cream scoop, if you imagine scooping ice cream. That's the motion you want to be doing with the head. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try this doing 6 straight. So straight out, straight back. And then we're going to do a total of 6, 3 to each side at a 45-degree angle. And I'll guide you through that, okay?
Okay.
So what I'd like for you to do throughout is to keep your hands against the legs and try to really isolate the head. So ideally, none of the body will be moving except for the head, okay? Yes?
Yes.
Great, okay. So let's begin. Okay, try to keep the shoulders stationary. Very good. Now to your left. Right. Left. Right. Left. One more to your right. Okay, and breathe. As much as you can into the chest again. Very good. So
Nice.
3 integration breaths. Hands gently together, knees slightly bent. Check your feet, make sure your toes are slightly out. Okay, and begin. One more. Good. So are you noticing anything, pain, tension, release? What's going on with the head and neck? What are you experiencing so far?
I do feel that there is some tension in my neck,
Okay.
shoulders.
Yep.
When I was moving my head from side to side
Mm-hmm.
while doing those exercises or that exercise, I felt like almost limited.
Yep. Okay, so there's some tension there. That's just, you're feeling a restriction. Again, when we start to do these exercises, you're going to notice things. You're moving in ways that are natural, but you may not feel very familiar with. Okay? So as that happens, be patient with that. Say, okay, well, I have this tension here. I'm feeling restricted. There's no, you're going to do this to the level of what your body is capable. So please bear that in mind. Sometimes people get frustrated when I start doing the exercises with them because they realize, wow, I'm really locked here. I'm restricted there. So that's just something I want to note, is that the more you do them and practice them, the more that will open up. And as it opens up, it will become much easier to move in a more natural way with these exercises.
Okay. So the pain really has to do with tension from not moving in a certain way that we're used to, or is it more tension from the stress that we're dealing with mentally, for example?
So basically, those are good questions. So basically, everything that we do, we think, it's the body keeps the score of this. Okay, so we could be experiencing stress and anxiety, and when we have that, the body is going to want to stiffen. It's going to want to shut down those feelings. We experience it especially in the chest, right? If we're feeling really anxious about something, we'll tend to have a burning sensation in the chest. Okay, if we're feeling frustration, stress, anger, things like that, that can present up across the shoulders into the neck. We can feel stiffening there. Okay, so again, people are going through a whole range of emotions during this time. We do that anyways as human beings. The key is to keep processing it and moving it through the body by increasing oxygen intake into the blood and improving circulation. Okay, so again, regardless of what circumstances lead to it, the key is to keep doing the exercises to reduce that stress and tension. Does that help clarify?
Yes.
Great. Okay. The next exercise is called hanging head. And this one just involves dropping the head. I'll demonstrate it. And then we're going to take 3 deep breaths in, and then the hands are going to come up onto the head like so. And we're just having the natural weight of the arms generate the stretch. I don't want you pulling down. These exercises aren't something to be type A with. Like, I'm trying to get some amazing, stretch or release of tension. It's to, again, be patient with your body, patient with the process, and be gentle, especially with the head series. So I can guide you through it. What we'll do.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch.
So then just exhale and drop the head. Try to keep the chest open, shoulders relaxed. Deep breaths. One more deep breath. Okay, now interlace the fingers. Bring the hands to gently rest on the crown of the head. Elbows in. And just let the head relax. Deep breaths. Okay, now I want you to gently move the head side to side. Again, relax the arms, elbows down. Let the tension go. Okay, now slowly come up. Very good. So then let's do 3 integration breaths. Begin. One more. Very good. Okay, this next exercise is side to side with the head. And how it looks, I'll just demonstrate it, is we inhale to, and again, I'm going to do these always in the reverse of you so that you can just mirror what I'm doing to make it easier, okay?
Okay.
So what it's going to be is you're going to inhale to your left, and it's going to look like this. Then exhale to the right. Again. And we're going to do 6 of these to each side. So we're going to do a series to the inhaling to your left, exhaling to your right. And then we're going to do a series inhaling to your right, exhaling to your left. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, great. So again, the hands against the hips. And we want to really keep the body stationary, throughout all of these as much as possible, where we're really focusing on isolating the muscle group that's involved in the exercise. Okay, so let's begin inhaling to your left. Deep breaths, 2 more. Very good. Okay, how are we doing so far?
Very good.
Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing in reverse, beginning to your right, and begin. Two more sets. Okay, how was that?
Excellent.
Good, how do you feel?
Feel good.
Good, that's what we want. Okay, so let's do 3 integration breaths. Again, knees slightly bent, shoulders relaxed, chest open, and begin. One more. Okay, good. So what I think makes the most sense is to do 2 more exercises. That'll make it, including the the integration breath, we'll have 6 total. Okay, so 3 from the head series, and we'll have the shoulders, the wrists, and then finally the integration breath. Okay, do you have any questions about this so far, or are we good?
No, we're good.
Excellent. Okay, so for this next exercise, we're going to be isolating the shoulders, okay? And it's important, I'm just going to show you the hold, is that you gently hold the arm right above the wrist, okay? So what I want you to do for this is to start by holding your left wrist with your right hand, okay? Yes, exactly. And that's behind the back, okay? And it's again, it's a very relaxed pose. The arms are relaxed, the hands are relaxed. And what we're really going to do is be isolating the shoulders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the exercise first, and then if you have any questions, I'll address that before we go through it together, okay?
Okay.
Great. All right, so how it goes is, again, we begin with the inhale. Now we're going to hold the inhale throughout the shoulders rotating backwards, and then we're going to have a slow, long exhale for the shoulders going forward. So I'll just demonstrate that. Okay? Again, we're not trying to really push into any pain here. If there's pain coming up, try to really relax. If it continues, just stop. But the idea is that the shoulders are loose and that we're really using the breath to generate the movement. Do you have any questions?
Can you tell me the breath, was it inhale, small, short breaths?
Correct. Yes, very good question. Again, it's short incremental inhales with each rotation back and then a slow exhale for the rotations forward. Okay?
Okay.
Great. So gently hold above your left hand with your right above the wrist, behind the back. Knees slightly bent. And begin. Exhale. Again. Head down a bit. Good. And last one. Exhale. Okay. Everything all right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if my hands behind my back, are they supposed to be just loose?
Yes, exactly. So they're relaxed. We're just like so.
Okay.
The arms are relaxed. If anything, the arms are in a little bit. You don't want to force it, but just they're in a little bit versus out to the side, like that. You can even pull down slightly on the wrist. That's okay. Yep, that works. So now we're going to switch to the other side. And so now switch your grip to the other wrist. Yep, great. And we're going to do the same thing. So 3 sets of 6. Begin. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, last one, nice and easy. Head straight. Exhale. And breathe. Again. Very good. 3 integration breaths. One more. Okay, good. How do you feel after that?
I feel good.
Good. Okay, so a couple pointers. One is to, again, do those rotations, you know, back with rolling the shoulders backwards as well as when you're doing them forward. Try to keep that at a steady rate, okay? So that, you know, again, it's consistent and steady. If you feel yourself getting a bit faster, try to slow it down. If you're not really moving much, you know, you're going too slow, try to bring it up a little bit in speed. But the key is to have it really be consistent, okay? And the other thing is just to make sure that you're doing your in-breaths, not a super strong one in the beginning, because that's not going to leave much room in the lungs throughout the rest of the exercise. But again, to do them in those small increments, right? So with each rotation, okay?
Okay.
Great. So then moving on to the final of the exercises, we're going to look at wrist circles. So how wrist circles works is, you know, it's basically you're taking your fingers and putting them onto the thumb. And again, this is not with tension. It's a relaxed pose. That's true for all of the exercises. They're relaxed. And we simply do rotations with short incremental inhales, as we were doing with shoulder rolls, and then one elongated exhale. So I'll just demonstrate this for now. Again, knees slightly bent, chest open, shoulders relaxed. This is how it begins. Exhale. Okay. The key here is to try to really isolate the wrist, as opposed to having the whole arm or anything like that. We're really just trying to isolate the wrist. Any questions?
No.
Okay, great. So we're going to begin with your left hand. And again, all these exercises begin to the left. You know, obviously aside from integration breaths, you know, in CAMEL, but really any of the exercises that are going, you know, from one side of the body to the other, we always want to start on the left side and also be starting with the rotation to the left. Okay? Great.
The rotation goes to the left.
Yes. And so arm stays relaxed, shoulder stays relaxed, arm closer to the body. Perfect. Very good. Okay, so what we're going to do is 3 sets of 6 on your left hand, and then we're going to switch and do 3 sets of 6 on your right hand. Okay?
Okay.
All right, and begin. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good, nice full circles. One more. Okay, now switch. And beginning to your left. Exhale. Inhale. I'm going to ask you to relax your right shoulder a little bit. Try to let it go. Good. Okay, one more set. Exhale. Very good. Deep breath. Again, into the chest. Great. So now we can conclude this demonstration of the exercises by doing 6 integration breaths. And again, as I said before, it's the best way to do the exercises and really the way I teach them is to always begin with 6 integration breaths, and then conclude with 6 integration breaths. And also doing 3 integration breaths between each exercise, okay? Great. Okay, so arms relaxed. And begin. Four more deep breaths. Two more. Last one. Okay, just relax. Return your breathing to normal. How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel a lot more flexible.
Excellent. So do you notice a difference then between how you felt before the exercises and now?
Oh, I absolutely totally feel it. Like,
Right.
I almost just needed to like roll my shoulders to feel how light, and just a huge difference. I can totally feel it.
Great, great. So yeah, that's really what you will get with these exercises is a feeling of lightness.
Right.
When we have improved circulation, when our bodies are moving, they're not in stress and tension, and they become more fluid. We have a feeling of lightness and also a feeling of aliveness. It helps to lighten things up, which especially for people right now is critical. When we feel heavy in our bodies and we're having feelings of exhaustion, right? If people are working a lot of hours from home, for example, we're feeling burnt out if we're spending a lot of time online. A lot of people, who are counseling, especially, or doing work over platforms like Zoom, can start to have that sense of burnout, right? The body starts to feel heavy and it starts to depress itself. That's how we respond to anxiety, where we have too much overactivity in the vital organs. I know we talked about this in our previous call. When we have that overactivity, depression comes in as a response to anxiety to shut that down. It's really a response as a kind of survival mechanism. So these exercises will help to process that as you're experiencing now, to lighten things. You'll feel lighter, and that will affect how you perceive as well. So great, I'm very happy to hear that.
Is this exercise doing the complete opposite of what we would be doing when we're sitting at the computer and feeling stressed? And is it to break that or do the opposite of that?
Well, it's to work with it, right? So if you think about sitting at a computer, right? And we can sit back down. And this might be helpful so we can demonstrate this. But, when you're sitting, oftentimes you can start out with your posture being pretty good, right? And then, you're working on something, maybe you're straining to see or read or focus, and eventually you're going to end up over here, right? Which if I turn, you notice how much my back is bent.
Right.
Okay? This is going to start having stress and tension here. So correcting the posture, right? Again, that's a critical component of these exercises with the integration breath at the beginning all the way through is keeping the body upright. What I encourage clients to do is that if you have a mirror available that you can look into just to check your posture, that you can have next to you, that can be helpful, as well as when you're doing the exercises, if you have a mirror nearby, just to see, if one shoulder is too high, you can relax it. If your head is slightly off, you can bring that into alignment. Yep, you're looking evenly distributed there. So it's really a factor of gravity, right? If we start to move forward more, right, there's more strain on this portion of the body, which can happen as people are really focused on things on a computer. So one easy solution is just monitor your posture. Every so often, just say, okay, where am I sitting? How does it feel? When we start to slouch forward, that can affect our emotional state as well. It's restricting feeling in the chest. The key is to keep the chest open so that the feelings are moving through this region of the body. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good point. When we have bad posture like this, our chest is closed.
Yeah.
We need to keep it up so we can breathe better and circulate or
Exactly. Exactly. And that's, again, where we see anxiety, or depression, I should say, showing up in the body is this. We want to kind of run and hide. We want to withdraw. We want to shrink in. We want to avoid something. That's a natural response to anxiety. So what these exercises are doing is they're correcting for that. So as you move that stress and tension through your body, you can come back into a natural state of alignment. And that's really key. If we are aligned and our head isn't slumped, to the side, for instance, you're going to have a bad day like this, really, because of gravity. It's weighing down. So that's going to skew not only how you feel, but also how you're perceiving things. So coming back into alignment is critical for how your state of being is physiologically, how you feel in your body, as well as perceptually and how you're looking at things out in the world.
Very nice.
Yes.
I love it. I actually feel great. I do have one question.
Yes.
And should we be doing this?
Great question. So what I say to anybody that I work with is that really the best way to benefit from these exercises is to do them 6 days consecutively per week and then take 1 day off. Again, there's a whole series of exercises that I teach, 32, that begin, again, they range from the head to standing series and then also to floor series. So this is really a very preliminary introduction to that, just to give people a sense of what these exercises are. If you do want to practice them, you can just keep watching this video and replay it just to help yourself, as a gift. So you have a way that you can do that. Even if you don't choose to work with me, that's fine. So yeah, the ideal is to do them 6 days a week, take 1 day off. And when I work with you one-on-one, what I do is I go over enough exercises that really, pretty quickly you get to a point where you can do 45 minutes of exercises straight. And that's the most beneficial. That's where chemical reactions start to occur in the brain. And this feeling you're starting to get today becomes much more significant. The feeling of aliveness and lightness in your body is really powerful.
Yeah, no, I totally feel it. It's, and we only just worked a little bit, so I can imagine what that would be like. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I'm interested to see how it's going to affect the rest of my day.
Yeah, well, it should be lighter. Again, there's a great saying by Jung. It goes something to the effect of, we do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And right now, if you look at stress, anxiety, fear that people are having around what's going on, it's dark. It's not a light experience. It's not, a fun experience. So I think enlightenment, in my experience, comes through the body lightening up, right? Being able to move better, not being overweight, not being debilitated by stress, tension, and pain, but having greater fluidity so that we can really adapt and deal with life as it comes to us. And sometimes when a muscle is releasing, that feels good. Other times, that doesn't feel so good. Either way, be patient with yourself. Again, come into this without expectation that you have to be doing them, at a certain level that your body just simply can't. Okay. They evolve. And what I do when I work one-on-one is we start at a basic level, like we're doing today. And then we get to higher and higher reps with the exercises. A session I had previously today with a client, we did an exercise called pendulum that involves swinging the leg that was very difficult for them in the beginning. You have to balance on one leg while swinging the other leg and moving the arms back and forth. They were able to do that up to 100 per leg. So this person, and I reminded them of this. We had this so it was on Sunday that we did that exercise, and today I reminded them of that. Look at that difference from where you started. So be patient with yourself. You keep working at it and you'll make progress.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, and I'm going to share this with our viewers. I'll let you know if there are questions. We can definitely keep an eye and see what other problems, what other things that people would like to know and work on within their wellness and health, so we can address those.
Very good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.